to a neighbor's.
Your destination 411 Pratt Road is on your left.
Он не один живет.
You've arrived at your destination.
Вот.
Она с других углов приезжала.
Мы же тоже не одни, которые сюда приперлись.
Ой, тут места уже нет.
Он уже начал, видишь, он с палочкой стоит. Он уже начал.
А куда встать? Вот это
Куда
там куча.
Он уже там рассказывает.
Those are big mason bee houses you have.
Yeah,
over
you see,
there.
that's my mason bee homes. That's why I drew all those holes, and that's what I used to.
Yeah, I've never seen any so big.
Yeah, well, I want mason bees. They work.
Yeah, I love mason bees. I have a lot of
And
them.
they're so nice. They don't sting you like big black flies. They're really nice, tame, bees.
Well, I saw,
Or
so
I
we
think-
have
oh,
lawn,
that's cool.
and I don't know if it was a branch off of your website video where someone was doing it, and they did manure first and then wood chips. So I've done that, and I cannot get rid of the grass. So we just use pure
8
wood
inches,
chips.
you didn't pick enough. You see, 8 inches, that stuff you put on, Brad says, well, thank you for all this food.
Right.
We're going to grow fine here. So you put 8 inches or more, the grass will die.
Okay, so, and just pure wood chips.
Yeah. This, again, suffocation, when things don't have light or air,
And then that stuff will become all this.
it's awesome how it will become.
And that's wood chips, like
What?
when you get the green and the brown, correct?
What was that question?
The wood chips, green and brown, not just like going to the center and getting wood
If you
chips.
look at
need
nature,
to shred.
remember at the
Yeah.
first, in nature, green material falls in the ground
That's
all the
right.
time.
Yeah.
And no one removes it.
Nope.
And it all just works.
Yeah. So when you say wood chips, you mean actually the
I'm
whole
talking
shebang.
chipped branches,
Yes.
needles and leaves and twigs, not bark,
Yes.
not wood,
Yes.
sawdust.
Not
Needles
sawdust.
and leaves and twigs. That's the
Yes.
ideal. That's what God does in nature.
So closing these umbrellas are an answer to prayer.
Yeah.
We were praying it would quit raining.
Oh, it's done raining. Thank you. That's good news. What are these over here?
Well, those are little plants. You see little squash plants? I got watermelon all coming up in here.
So do you direct seed some things and then
this
start
stuff here, I'm
some?
going to plant out my orchard. These squash and watermelon stuff. So I'm going to, I could direct seed, but this just makes it more convenient. Just so,
Yeah.
You can grow watermelon here, huh?
Oh, someone told me I could, and what blew my mind last year, we had a really cold, damp, like spring, and I planted everything I do in May, and nothing came up because it was so wet. So I'm planting watermelon seed the 1st of July, and I and multiple people ate ripe watermelon out of my orchard. It blew me away. That late, it was awesome. So I'm excited. Watermelons. Now this is not the big red. These are smaller, like yellow flesh, but man, it was sweet. So much better than anything in the store.
What do you have growing right there?
Those are raspberries.
Wow.
And you can see all the raspberries on them. Look at the number there. It's awesome.
Great. What kind of watermelon did you say you have?
Oh, there were varieties that are smaller and they're like yellow flesh instead of red. I don't remember the names.
Could it be like jam stick or something like that?
I don't even remember the names because somebody had gave me the seed, but they were awesome.
And then
So is anybody local? If you want strawberries, you see all these suckers coming up all around, away from my rows. You're welcome to all those, and they'll produce fruit this year. You can see over those
They'll
big ones
come
over
up
there,
easily too.
and they'll come out. Those are raspberries. See all these all around here.
strawberries on the
See
other
outside of the bed are all kinds of stuff coming up from the roots, and so you can take those out and take them home and plant them.
and when you get your seed,
Yeah. Just dig down the ground. No, get with your hand, move the soil away. Get a good root.
Он годами уже делает это.
See how easy that moves with your hand? Yeah, that's one. Yeah. So move it away, and you'll watch how nice that comes out. You'll get a great root attached to it, and
What kind of raspberries are they?
I don't know the name. Now look at that awesome root. Look how much root you got there.
Yeah.
Isn't that cool?
Yeah.
You know that's going to grow. So all that stuff, just go ahead and pull them up, and you're good. You see how awesome? You see in dirt, you wouldn't have got root like that.
No way.
It's awesome. These wood chips, man, are just the best medium to grow in. Look at all the roots you got.
And when you get your seed, what do you do to make sure they're not like GMO or what? It's the source of your
The
seed.
source, yeah. And then what I do after that,
I'm good. I
I
have.
collect my own seed
Yeah.
because I know that source.
Yeah, right. That's what the Amish do. They don't buy seed.
Well, you should.
They
You know,
have their own seed.
well, in nature, who's buying seed?
Yeah, right.
Everything produces its own seed.
Okay, one.
Well, like I said, there's all kinds of it out there. So just help yourself. It's all. Like, look at that big bunch over there. There's a whole bunch of big tall ones right over there.
What is that?
Raspberries.
Oh,
You can see all the raspberries already coming out.
yeah.
So Paul, I see you don't have any sheep in yet this year, do you?
I need to get some. Like
Yeah.
my grass is growing really, really well.
Right?
I'm looking to get some. I need sheep.
We have a ton of chickens and ducks. I mean, how are you collecting the manure?
I don't know if you realize it, but I live in a place you can't grow figs.
Right?
I was going to ask you about that.
When you walk over there in a minute, you're going to blow your mind when you see the number of figs on my trees. I have never, ever seen so much.
We have a fig tree that fruits, but then the fruits fall off before it ripens.
Yeah, see, this one here is the only one I know that gets ripe here. It's called Desert King. And there's no other variety that I know of that gets ripe. The brown turkey they sell in the nursery doesn't get ripe.
It's called Desert.
Desert King. And so if you're local, this fall winter, I get all kinds of suckers coming up off the ground. I'll give you starts. And from these trees over here, from a stick, I put in the ground. In 3 years, I had fruit. It's amazing how well they produce.
So are there different things that you decide to grow over here? Like do you have vegetables grown over here at all, or just flowers?
You know what? You know my fig trees are up against the woods. I had one growing out in my herb garden, and every winter it just totally got burned.
Your herb garden's over here
Yeah,
too?
but you know what's awesome about that space? It's south facing, so it gets full sun, but the trees in the background act as a blanket and keeps it warm in the winter. So you start paying attention and let God show you these cool things, these little microclimates you have.
Yeah.
You can just do so many things that people can't.
To get the seeds, you don't spend time collecting the seeds.
I do.
You do?
Well, because my seed's the best. I can't buy anything as good as my seed.
Okay.
I always collect my seed.
Okay.
But initially, until I got my seed, I had to buy them from someone else. Let me give you an example. I won't give you the company's name, but they're well known. They're all Heirloom Seeds. In a package of cucumbers I planted a row, 3 came up. My seed, every one came up, and I saw the difference. They're organic. They're heirloom, but they're not grown in the soil like this. You are what you eat, the seed included.
So you still get something from Fedco?
I like Fedco. I've been real happy with Fedco seeds.
Yeah.
Fedco, F-E-D-C-O. They're in Maine, and they do have some hybrid stuff. Don't pay attention to that, but they have a really huge selection of really good seeds, and they're a very, very reputable, good company. They acknowledge where the seeds come from, and they're totally opposed to Monsanto. You know, Monsanto, most of your seed companies are controlled by them.
What'd you say?
Most of your seed companies are controlled by Monsanto. You know, Monsanto sold last year to Bayer.
Oh.
You know what the price was?
What?
Very significant.
Yeah.
$66.6 billion.
66.6 what?
$billion.
They were probably laughing.
They're just being upfront. They're being real. They're who they are.
Wow.
So Bayer bought Monsanto?
Yeah.
It just got approved too. Like every branch together.
Looking out for our investments.
No, they know the liability is coming down the pike, and so they sold.
Well, could I ask what those little yellow flowers?
Buttercup.
That's buttercup. Okay, I have tons of
And then
those
in
on
the
my
field
property.
over here,
I
where
have
the
lo-
sheep are going.
Yeah, that's Buttercup.
Yeah, okay. You don't have any Scotch broom on your property.
No, I don't.
That's wonderful.
And when I came here, I had all thistles in my pasture. And I dug them all out.
You dug them out?
With a 4-inch shovel, I went down it and got the roots.
And would you do that today?
It took me quite a few years, but I just want to tell you something about tenacity and diligence that you win. I'm so excited. I had no thistles,
Right.
and that thing was loaded. The whole field was full of thistles, but I was just on top of it. And before they ever bloom, I dig them out. You know,
You know what likes wood chips? Thistles.
Everything likes wood chips.
Thistles love wood chips.
Everything likes wood chips. It's a viable place to live.
But if you
They
covered them
love
with 8 inches of wood chips,
No,
would they
thistles
die?
are coming through. Thistles
Come right
tear the
through.
roots down really
That's what
deep.
we're fighting.
They are tough.
Yeah.
They are tough.
They come through.
But something about going down with this and getting the roots
Yeah.
really gets it.
You spray saline solution on them, right?
What's that?
Does saline solution work on them?
Do you salt
I
them?
don't. I just dug them up.
You dug 'em up?
I never mess with treating them. I just want to get rid of them. But it took me a lot of years. It didn't happen initially. Now I want you all to look at these fig trees and just focus on the amount of figs that are there.
Famous fig tree killer. Well, several years ago, I remember we had like 2 on one of them. And little kids came along and got it before they...
The foliage. Look at that Japanese maple. That Japanese maple, a landscaper gave that to me because he brings his crew out here I teach him how to prune. And he came by and he looked at it. He says, I had one the same day I planted like yours. It's 1/3 the size, and this plant is supposed to grow in full shade. This is in full sun, south facing.
So Paul, your strawberries, it's not sifted, so you don't have to do that.
No. So strawberries, I put them stuff, of course, they just push right through. Strawberries will come right through the wood chip. Now you see in front of my blueberries over there, look at that gorgeous wasabi. That whole row of plants are wasabi growing in front of my wood chips. And you know what I grow in front of it? I want everybody to hear this because this is so awesome. I'm growing sage right next to my wasabi. Do you understand the significance of that? Wasabi only grows in standing water in full shade. Sage grows in deserts in full sun with no water. And I'm growing them side by side. So I asked the creator, because my brain couldn't wrap around it, what he told me made me cry. Because it was so incredible. He says there's enough airspace in the wood chips for the sage to hang out in the open spaces and avoid the water. The wasabi wants the water, it goes, but they have the option. And I lost it. In this order, you can plant everything in the same place and the plants can choose. And that's how God made it. Wow. It's just so awesome. If you look at over there, I have lavender growing. I got blueberries all around it. Lavender wants to grow in an alkaline soil. Blueberries want to grow in acid. And I have them growing side by side. Because in wood chips, the pH is 7.0 center. And at center, everybody's happy. Wow. I love God. He made it perfect.
What is this right here?
That was a plant that went to seed, like that one over there. See, you see in front of you all those white flowers?
Oh, yeah.
And see, here's my challenge. That if I'm not careful, if I don't cut that thing back, I'm going to have this plant everywhere. Because this is a viable, and I'm telling you, man, I used to have, stuff in here that I spent hours weeding because I let it go to seed. So I have to be so careful when stuff goes to seed to cut it back because I got to stop it.
When y'all moved here 38 years ago, is that what it was?
Yeah.
Was this all the way
pasture?
So then you just came and you just added all
You know how this happened, this herb garden? And I want to share this with you people starting out because this is huge. You see that chicken pen right there? That was my first chicken pen. And I started noticing how this soil was getting so nice because I'm bringing everything to them. And my wife is saying, I want an herb garden. And I thought, well, man, this is a perfect place. Look at this soil. So I just moved my chickens down there and turned the chicken pen into herb garden because the soil was so good because of their work on it. So if you want a real nice garden, put up a chicken pen and have chickens for a while. They'll create the most amazing soil that you could ever have. You know. Does anybody grow strawberries right now?
I have some. They're pretty
They don't
big.
look this good. But
Oh yeah, that's what I want you to get. These look good. Because they are good. They're growing in wood chips. Now, does anybody know about thyme, the herb?
How'd you go from
I want you to be very careful and take, it's right behind your foot there, take a tiny piece because you're going to flip out at how strong it is. Thyme, the herb. I'm talking tiny because this is going to blow you away how strong it is.
Wow.
Oh my goodness. That is what you call is nutrient density. Any herb, any time you buy in the store, it doesn't even come close to that.
That's like medicinal level.
It is, because it is medicinal level.
It is. It's totally medicinal level.
So to break off that that flavor, go pick some of those chives over there, right there in front of you. They're really sweet and good.
I've got a whole salad now.
We gotta try that. We gotta try that. Wow.
Has anybody been around a chicken pen?
Yes.
You know commercial chicken pen?
Oh, well.
I want you to notice this chicken pen. You see my fig tree under the willow? Those things will come later because it's shaded. So I just extend my fig heart. Great.
This is what?
It's a lichen. It's a seedless tree. Probably one of the few we're really hard time with this. I'm really feeling like I should be responsible for what you showed me. But I'm not a woman. These women you made are amazing beings. They're multitasking. They could be on the phone, fixing dinner, taking care of their kids, and doing all 3 or 4 at once in full cognizance and total function. I can't do that. I'm not a multitasker. So God, if I gotta write a book, I can't take care of my garden and orchard. So can you help me? So God sends this guy here from Louisiana who hires these girls to do this film, and a film's created. And then God brings this David Devine and his wife here on a tour. And then he tells David Devine to write a book for me. You know, so it's just been so fun working with God. He does all the work for you. You know, you just have to ask, God, I need help. How do I get this out? And he just does it. You know, I think it's so cool. You know how I qualify to get used? You know how I qualify to be used? Is God uses the foolish things of the world to confound the wise. I'm being real. Let me explain why. I have no formal education. None. I have no computer. I have no cell phone. And I'm a recluse. I go nowhere, I know no one. And God's put me in a position to impact the world.
Yes.
I think it's hilarious. It's totally unnatural. It's something if I wanted to do, I couldn't have. I never even wanted to.
You don't steal the glory.
I know better.
Yeah.
I totally know better. It's got nothing to do with me. I get it. I couldn't have done this anyway. It's got nothing to do with me. Yay God. You know, so it's so fun. You know what's so cool is I get phone calls and letters all day from all over the world. And because I have no cell phone, I have no computer, I can be all day long in my garden, enjoying my life, and at night I go in and answer my calls and letters. It's so convenient. If I had email, I had no life.
Oh, yeah.
You know, so God is so awesome how He set this up. And I'll tell you something. I really believe that I'm operating exactly what I was made for. I know that I was born at a time like this to do what I'm doing. I know that. And I'll tell you something God showed me interesting in the scripture that really got my attention. In Revelation, it makes this incredible statement that in heaven, God wipes away all tears from your eyes. And I'm having a hard time trying to figure out why anybody's crying in heaven, because there's no sin, there's no pain, there's no sickness, there's no suffering. Why are we crying?
For joy.
No. God showed me why. It says that He's going to open the books.
Oh, Lord.
And what God showed me was that He wrote a biography on every single human being from day one. A biography. And He's going to read our biography to us. And we're going to be crying for a lot of us because we never got what we're made for. You mean you made me for that? I could have been that? And we're going to be crying. But I have a sense that in this time of my life, my biography up there is going to read kind of what I'm doing. And I'm thinking like, God, awesome. Because a lot of people go through life and never figure out what they're here for. but I really believe.
Because we asked the wrong.
Yeah, and I look back at how my life was arranged, how God set things up, that I know I'm doing exactly what I was supposed to do. So I'm so thankful.
Were you born in this area?
I was born in Los Angeles, 1949, in the St. Louis Hospital in Los Angeles, California. I lived there for 30 years, and I've been here 38. And I've been gardening ever since I was 5 years old, consistently, except for 2 years when I was in the Army. So I have a history of gardening. I've kind of been doing it for a while. And you know what's so interesting, again, how God set me up? My mom was an amazing woman. She was powerful, and she was really frugal. And in Los Angeles in the 50s, our water bill was $30 a month, which is like $1,000 today. And she was trying to conserve it. So what she would do, she would go out on trash day before the trash man would show up, and she'd get all the neighbors' yard waste, their grass clippings and leaves and stuff, and she put those around all her flower gardens to hold moisture. I remember as a kid gardening, working at home, in my dad's garden where we hand spaded and we used manures, the weeds were a drag to pull. But in my mom's garden, the ground was soft and damp and the weeds pulled easy. So I saw now that God was setting me up for what he showed me in the woods that my mom showed me as a kid growing up. I'm just telling you, man, when you start connecting dots, you realize, like, wow, God's on this thing. This is not, this didn't happen coincidentally, accidentally. He was preparing me all along to show me how the covering works.
Can you talk about how this can be done anywhere, even if where it doesn't rain a lot?
The cover, again, when you consider the soil as a living organism, it requires a covering. And when the covering's in place, everything works. It holds moisture, it's releasing life. It's just such a given. I mean, it's like if someone skinned you, that's your covering, you would live long. Something God showed me about compacted soil is compacted soil is dead. Living soil cannot be compacted. It's impossible. When you take the cover off, it compacts and dies. It's huge. It's just so obvious when you get it. And so, and what I think is so interesting about Israel, like I shared earlier, is that was a desert. And now they've replanted. It's raining and snowing in Israel. Nature, totally cooperates with order. And all deserts are man-made, and now they're bringing in livestock in places over there in Africa and totally restoring deserts. So I think when you start growing things, you're gonna get more rain because it just attracts. It's attracted to it.
It'll take something to break that cycle, right?
Yeah. Repentance.
They're kind of on a downward spiral,
Yeah.
and sometimes you have to switch it.
Repentance is such a gift. It's just correcting, getting right. I love repentance. It's a gift. Just correct.
So speaking of that, we have a garden that has been tilled, and we would just get wood chips and cover.
Yeah, and if you got stuff growing, just put them around your plants, and you'll see your plants like immediately getting bigger, greener, and healthier. It's just like they talk to you, like, thank you for feeding us, And it's just a simple matter of repentance. People always ask me, were your trees growing organically? I said, probably not. I don't care, because when they come here, they're going to repent. Really? When they come here, they're going to repent. I don't care how they started. They're going to repent.
I live in town, and we put the wood chips down. It was a drought year. I think it was 2015, and I picked. My apples were big and wet and juicy, and my neighbors on their well-watered lawns, same variety of apple, hard and bitter. And
awesome. It's so, again, the evidence is so obvious.
my pears were like silk instead of split skins.
I know.
And
Here's something that really gets my attention is how ordered God is. What is the earth 75% of?
Water.
75% of.
Water.
What is your body 75% of?
Water.
And when you come here and eat my food is 75% water. God is so ordered. He's so totally ordered. It's incredible. Well, you're so welcome.
Thanks.
You're so welcome. I'm glad you all stuck it out through the rain. This third thing is really huge. It says, in everything give thanks. And here's why. It's not for God's benefit. It's for mine, because it says, this is the will of God in Christ Jesus concerning you. So I'm learning to, even with yellow vegetables, thank you, God. And when you start giving thanks, it just changes perspective. It causes faith to rise up that God's good. He's going to change this to make it good. And you just don't get down. Are you following me? Because see, the word says, as a man thinks in the heart, so are they. If you're thinking, my vegetables are yellow, that's your thought process. That's your reality. You're saying, thank you, God. You're up to something good. I don't understand this, but I'm believing you're working all things, including this, together for good. Thank you. It just changes your mindset. And it just gives you faith and hope. And it just makes life fun and more enjoyable.
Right.
I love thanks. Gratitude is huge. And they're finding that, you know, they're studying the brain, and they're finding that gratitude is so beneficial to the brain, and physically to the brain. It's huge.
And the rest of the body.
Yeah.
Thank you, Paul.
You're so welcome. Thank you.
Paul, do you remember Nick Adger?
Yes.
From Going Back to Eden. He said hi to you.
Nick is my friend. Nick Adger. He's got a website on
Instagram.
Instagram. This guy's 18 years old. He's the most amazing artist and the most incredible gardener, and he's so into chickens. He's like an amazing. He's coming out here in July. Yeah.
Yeah.
And a guy from Orange County is coming up here just to see him. You know.
Wow.
But he's like this most amazing young guy. He's just so totally gifted.
Yeah.
He's so artistic. Man. He's amazing.
Yeah.
Nick Adger.
Yeah, Nick Adger. On Instagram. Yeah, just a cool guy. He lives on the East Coast.
Maine, I think.
Not Maine. He's what's that state? It's below Maine, but it's on the coast.
Vermont.
Rhode Island. Is it Rhode Island? He's down. Maybe. But anyway, he goes out and he fishes. And he makes fish emulsion for his plants. I mean, he's just so resourceful.
Yeah.
You know, he just goes and catches fish and makes fish emulsion. Yeah, he's really cool.
I think I read that too.
Thank you.